Oh no, I'm secretly laughing at your accent right now.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Tempo, and put that on that 6 spread.
You get this beautiful sound here. So, I know that you're really active in CrossFit, very athletic, done a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Heard you're shredding some gnar.
Try.
That's what you call it. Where were you snowboarding?
We were in Park City.
Park City, Utah?
Yup.
Cool. That's one place I've never
Felt
been. But yeah, that can be tough on you, that's for sure. And you fell on that wrist a little bit? Okay.
Like
a little bit.
Times.
Just 4? So what's your main complaint though? Like what bugs you the most when you're active, working out, doing all the things you like to do?
Let's see. Where do you want me to even start? Actually, I do have some issues though with my lower back.
Okay.
Actually, I noticed, when I started playing volleyball, the more competitive, because my hitting was off, so I was arching more, and my lower back was starting to really hurt.
Okay.
It's been like hurt before, but back in the day, they were like, "Oh, your core's not tight enough," and I'm like, I feel like it's tight enough now, like to hold it. So I think there's something else.
So even like the jumping, the impact, are you doing like hang cleans, hang snatches? Is that ever aggravated?
No, more deadlift. Deadlift just makes it a little bit more sore.
Okay.
Depending on how it feels, it's hard to get into that, on like pull-ups and stuff, into that arch position. That tends to not want to feel good.
Okay, so it's always that like overextension that really seems to irritate it the most?
Yep.
All right. And then what seems to help it the most? So do you ice it, take medication, stretch it, specific
I try
movements?
to stretch it, but it doesn't feel like this. It's hard to explain. It doesn't feel like stretching helps it. It's almost like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's a stretching issue. Because I try to lay on my back and whichever, but that doesn't really help. Honestly, I just lay on my back.
You just lay flat, and that seems to help. Do you like bring your legs up or anything?
I can't lay flat. I bring my knees up.
Okay.
That helps. But no icing, no.
So it's actually almost like the flexing forward seems to relieve it the most?
Yeah.
It's always in that extension like position that really irritates it. All right. You don't ice it or heat it or anything like that? Okay. All right. You know all these athletes, right? They heat before activity and then they ice after?
I just kind of jump into things.
That's probably why you came out here, right?
Yep.
To get away from the icing? So when your back is flared up and it's at its like worst, 10 being like the most pain you've ever felt in your life, what would you say it is, like 0 to 10?
Oh.
Just when it really flares up?
3.
Okay.
Like
So it's definitely not enough to like...
Stop me from doing anything? No.
Okay. Yeah, you just get to fight through the pain a little bit?
Yep.
All right. Well, yeah, big thing with like CrossFit and a lot of those exercises where you're doing like the deadlifts, the hang snatches. We don't realize it, but it's all about popping those hips forward, right? So you're getting those hips kind of going up and out to try to get that explosion through there, but we are hyperextending our low back, and that repetitiveness can actually create some extension injuries in there.
Okay.
A lot of different things can contribute to that, just like volleyball, spiking, things along those lines. But we don't realize that a lot of athletes actually get something called a lower cross syndrome. It sounds way worse than it is, I promise. People think they're like, oh my God, what does that mean? What it means though is that our hip flexors get super tight, our erectors get super tight, and we kind of hyper focus on like stretching our hamstrings all the time.
Yeah.
And then we do not necessarily lose strength in our core, but we focus on our core as well, keeping that strong and mobile. So what that does is that tightness literally rocks our pelvis forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we get a big curve in there anyways.
Yeah.
So I like to call it the sprinter's butt because you get that big curve in the low back. But again, that makes that big curve kind of jam the facet joints in the back, and that's literally a hyperextension, like too much extension in there. So it does a couple things. It it impinges those facet joints, but it also kind of puts a lot of stress on the lower discs in your low back, typically L5, and that over time can cause more stress and lead to things like early degeneration. So it's really important that we work on that core, we work on those pelvic tilts, trying to get that that lower back kind of line back up, if that makes sense. So it's really important that we kind of focus on that from an earlier perspective, earlier onset.
Is it like opposite sides? Because this hip flexor is always tight.
It definitely can be, for sure. It kind of depends. Everyone has,
hip flexor.
it's always that hip?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So have you had issues with that hip, like injuries and things like that?
Not injuries, it's just I've had it where it's been tight that when I would go from like dead stop to sprint, I could feel it. So I'd have to I would stretch it, try to get it like that tension released, basically.
Okay.
It's always this hip flexor more than that one.
Okay.
But they're both tight, don't worry.
Well, it definitely can work opposite like that. It's weird how the body likes to compensate. But if you can imagine like one being tighter than the other, it's going to want to rock that pelvis forward. You get that little bit of unleveling, and then that sets up the foundation for everything to have to compensate for it. And that's how we develop things like scoliosis. I'm not saying that's what you have, but you know, that's how that kind of stuff develops, right? And then we have like favorite sides. So we build compensations based off of our dominant sides, right? Like say if you're a sprinter, you come out of the blocks, you typically have like your favorite leg, either forward or back, right? Because you like to drive that one forward, and that's the first initial drive, and that repetitive stress is going to tighten that one up more than the other side. So little things like that we do have to focus on, but we don't realize we're doing it. So do you have any other discomforts, any other complaints? You ever get tightness like up in your mid back, upper back, neck, shoulders, anything along those lines?
Well, I mean, just obviously from, you know, CrossFit, different things. Like obviously, like I'm always tight up in here.
Okay, it's kind of over that like bony bump in the back?
Yeah, that, I mean, it kind of comes, I think it's like the traps get tight and then which pulls up through that neck part.
Okay.
I also think my pillow's not the best.
Okay.
Because I feel like that doesn't help my neck.
Not necessarily. Sleep's really important because that's obviously how we heal, right? But is it both sides or is it primarily that left side? Because I know you're just grabbing that left side.
Well, there's always been a knot on this side. Sometimes it's both sides. I will say though, here we go back to it, falling and snowboarding. The whiplash feeling was on the right side from like up at the base of my neck, like all the way around.
Even to the front there too?
Oh yeah, I could feel like it was like all right in there.
Okay.
Yeah, falling and snowboarding. I need to learn how to stand. Stay up on my feet.
It sounds like you fall a lot snowboarding.
Hey.
You just like playing in the snow?
You know, rolling down. It works.
Yeah, I thought you were supposed to ride down, not slide down the whole thing.
You know,
Don't they have like things that push the snow and does that for you?
Yeah.
You don't have to.
I like to help them out.
Okay. Oh, what's up, Opie?
Hi, buddy. Lifting doesn't really
Opie, hey.
bother it too bad.
You feel it more like if you're sitting at your desk too long, like if you're in a poor posture, you kind of mentioned like sleeping position, things like that.
Honestly, like just depends, like sometimes sleeping, I don't know if I get like too far back or something.
Okay.
But sometimes I'll wake up.
Do you sleep without extension, you think?
I don't know, honestly.
Okay.
Maybe.
Most cases, like we put too many pillows thinking it's better for our head. You just have one.
Well, that I sleep on, and I have like 5 down the side.
Okay, that's actually good. I can coach you a little bit on like different sleeping habits and different modifications for your posture while you're sleeping. But a lot of people have like too thick of a pillow and they sleep with their head flexed forward. And that's one of the worst things for you because our coconut's already doing that all day, every day. If we're sitting there like on our phone or if we're typing at a computer, it's always our head trying to fall forward. So if we sleep like that, that's not good.
Okay.
But those are little things we want to think about in the future. But yeah, we'll definitely kind of address some of that as well.
Oh, I have a question. Could that
Ask
have any effect? Because sometimes this happens. It's been happening more recently than in the past. But like I sleep on like my sides, but I like depending. I wake up, I'll go one side and then I'll switch the other. But sometimes like it feels like my hands kind of go numb.
Okay.
They're not like fully numb, but they feel like it. And then even when I lay on my back, I still feel like something's...
They get a little numb like that?
Yeah.
Okay. There are a couple different things. So if you are sleeping and everything's kind of rolled forward, you can actually close off something called the thoracic outlet.
Okay.
It's a fancy term for a tunnel essentially that comes underneath your collarbone above the first rib.
Okay.
What happens is we have a brachial plexus, which is a fancy term for a big bundle of nerves that come from our neck, go down in our arms. So it's literally all the sensation is that tingling that you feel. If that gets closed off, and again, all it takes is the weight of a dime to actually irritate that nerve and cause some kind of like sensation like that. then we need to be able to kind of get some extension through your upper back, be able to open up that thoracic outlet and kind of open that up, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But when you're sleeping, if it's like the bed's too soft, you're kind of rolling your shoulders forward. If you're sleeping with your arms like on your stomach or something, sometimes even that is too much of allowing the shoulders to roll forward. But if you're sleeping on your side, obviously, is that like the arm that's underneath?
No, it's not.
It's the one that's on top?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's even harder. But it depends, like, again, if you're in a fetal position type of thing, if you're sleeping on your
I
side.
do sleep. Yeah.
So
Goes forward.
there's a couple different things. The biggest one is actually, if you're sleeping on your side, you want to pull this out. So you're sleeping more on your shoulder blade, not necessarily with your shoulder like scrunched up underneath you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because again, that's going to cause tightness in your neck. It's going to kind of cause some excessive pressure like on the shoulder. But again, that's going to help just close off that thoracic outlet. So pulling that out really elongates the back, takes stress off the shoulder. But another little tip too that a lot of people don't think about is like roll up a towel and put it underneath the top armpit. It's really
if I'm
weird.
Sleeping on this side. This one? This arm?
Yep, the top shoulder. So it sounds weird, but what that does is it actually, again, separates the shoulder blades. It spreads the shoulders out, so it opens up that thoracic outlet again. It's a really interesting thing, but it's hard to incorporate that many things when you're sleeping, because you're like, wow, I have to like set up a whole sleeping structure here. I have like, you need like a checklist for all the different pillows and different things you can do, but those little things really help. And I know people move around when they sleep, but if you do that for 2 hours throughout the night, if you like force yourself to fall asleep like that, and like I said, if it's only 2 hours, it's better than 0.
Yeah.
So it's something. But for your upper back, what seems to help it? Like if you do get that tingling, you just have to like get up and move? Do you have to ice it? Do you have to stretch it out a certain way? Anything along those lines?
No. I just kind of lay there.
You just let it be?
I just kind of move on my back and just lay
You just like when your arms kind of go limp?
I just kind of lay there and hope it goes away.
Fair enough. So again, if you're just falling asleep like that, obviously, again, you're closing off that thoracic outlet and you're just losing kind of that sensation. You're irritating that nerve in some shape or form. But when that tingling does happen, is it painful at all?
No.
Okay.
It's just more annoying.
So if you had to put it like 0 to 10, what just?
You're talking like 1.
Okay.
It's not painful or anything. It's just it's a weird feeling because I can feel it starting, but it's not fully numb. But I'm like, this doesn't feel normal. So then I like roll around trying to
get it comfortable again.
Comfortable position.
Gotcha. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, again, you're not alone on that. A lot of people have that issue, and again, sleep is the most important thing because that's when we heal. And if we can modify our sleeping position and help out our body the best that we can while we're sleeping, it's just gonna open up the potential of healing. So, so we'll dive into a little bit of history here. Is there any other complaints you wanna talk about? Anything? Shoulders? I know you're talking about your wrist a little bit, but that's okay.
Wrist. Well, that was just from, again, falling. that's
You must be really good at falling at least.
Hey, I fall, get right back up. We're good. No, I mean, the other thing, I did have ACL surgery on my left knee.
And we'll dive into some of your surgeries and stuff with the history, but does that like bug you a lot? Is that a main complaint?
Not overly bad. Sometimes, like I said, the underneath the knee.
Okay.
It just feels like there's like a little pressure there, so I can't really
get that full flexion in there?
Yeah.
Okay. But does it ever feel like it locks up on you? Does it feel like?
Doesn't ever, no, not locking up. Depending on how active I am and like what I'm doing, a lot of like volleyball, softball, CrossFit, even like the extra stuff like snowboarding, I can definitely tell when it seems to feel more swollen, so I don't have as much like flexion and all that as my other knee.
Okay,
but
so it does swell up on you a little bit?
It feels like it doesn't, it'll look slightly swollen, but not overly, but I can just tell that I can't like
and you
move
had,
it as well.
You had a full reconstruction in there, right?
Full ACL tear, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have anything done to the meniscus, any other ligaments?
Nah, I don't think they did anything. I think my meniscus was slightly torn, but not.
So they didn't do any repair on it? They didn't scope it? Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Aware of.
And that's actually that's a good thing.
Yeah.
In most cases. A lot of times we think if there's a meniscus tear, we're kind of SOL. But if it's small enough, typically if you get it fixed, it actually could be more damaging to your meniscus and cause more irritation down the road. it's almost better just to let it be and
Yeah.
let it kind of heal on its own, especially
Yeah.
if it's that small. So,
I think they just focused on my ACL.
okay. We'll take some vitals here as I throw everything around here and break all my toys. So obviously, yes, it's fun. We play a lot of sports, grow up and we kind of learn all those different things, but we definitely challenge our bodies. So just let you relax there. We'll take your blood pressure.
Okay.
And then on the other finger here, pick a finger, any finger. Let you just chill for a second. And last but not least here, we're gonna do a little grip strength. Not too pertaining to your issues, but what we like to do is find a general kind of a starting point for grip strength in case there's any like neurological issues coming from your neck. Like I said, through that brachial plexus, just try not to break my machine.
I don't think I will.
So at 90 here, squeeze as hard as you can. And all you're gonna do is squeeze as hard as you can and let go. All right,
This
so
one might not show the true grip strength
just
of the
because,
wrist, but
okay, do your best here. So squeeze as hard as you can.
I'm trying.
And relax.
It hurts.
Okay. All right, is that too painful?
No.
Okay, try it one more time here. As hard as you can.
How bad
Good.
it is.
Relax. All right, that was better. On this side, as hard as you can. Good, and relax. That's more like it. One more time, as hard as you can. Yeah, might be kind of tough with that wrist, so go ahead and relax. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not the most ideal way to kind of measure that, but you're about 60 on the left and then closer to like 80 on the right. Or sorry, no, back, I'm mixing those up.
I was like, wait,
Yeah.
the right should be, wait, the right or left high? So higher is better.
Yeah, I'm struggling with my left and rights today here, but that's okay. So again, we like to do that just in case, again, weight of a dime is enough to kind of irritate a nerve. If you have any kind of neuromuscular facilitation that's not working into the upper extremities, then we know something's happening in the neck. So it's good to have that kind of baseline so that if you do have issues in the neck, we can see if there's like any decline, any bigger kind of discrepancies from left to right. But definitely once that wrist is feeling better, we'd want to redo that. So, all right, we're gonna do some range of motion here.
Okay.
So you can stay sitting for just for now. I'm gonna have you tuck your chin to your chest like you're looking down your lap. Do you feel any pulling through here? Anything coming down in the shoulder blades?
Up there.
Okay, so it's more like right through that bony bump, or is it up higher through your neck?
No.
Okay,
A little bit by the bony belt.
Okay, look up at the ceiling best you can. Okay, good range of motion there, but does that pinch in your neck cause any irritation?
Nope.
Okay, come back to center. Turn your head as far as you can to the right. Okay, and then to the left. Okay. A little tightness there, but any pain side to side, any tightness? Okay. Go ear to shoulder best you can. A little tighter that way?
Yeah.
Okay. And then come to the left.
Oh boy.
Okay. Is one side tighter than the other?
No, they're both very tight.
Okay. They're not bad, but yeah, you can definitely see like your scalenes, your trap, your SCM all kind of pop out as soon as you go to the side. So that's okay. Do me a favor and stand on up.
Oh boy.
Rotate a little bit.
Oh god.
So it just feels like a stretch.
Yeah.
Nothing's pinching, nothing hurts.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Right there?
Right there.
On that left side, so again,
Yeah.
it's that extension, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, have a seat again here. So I can already tell you're tough.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
So it means you have a high pain threshold, that's for sure. So again, you're gonna be like the type of person that has to wait till like a bone sticking out to actually like go get it looked at, which is okay. Just from looking at your shoulders, yes, they do rock forward quite a bit. But again, typically what happens is we like to roll forward because we're looking at phones, we're working from desks, we're driving too much, things along those lines. But also we like to work on our chest, our biceps a lot, and that tightens up those muscles obviously and rolls the shoulders forward. So the biggest thing is we really want to work on the back all the time and really focus on trying to get those shoulders down and back. So it really gets you like that big chest, it opens up that thoracic outlet, and it actually gives you the foundation to get a proper curve in your neck. So those are all things that we want to work on, that's for sure. pretty straightforward concept, but unfortunately with everything we do, that repetitive stress kind of outweighs what we do to kind of combat that, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So, all right. That doesn't help.
Nope.
We'll go take those x-rays right now, and then we'll kind of come back in here and get you all tuned up, all right? So come on with me, you can leave your stuff for now. And we're gonna come all the way back here. Do you have any other like metal midline, anything else in your pockets? The watch will be okay.
Okay.
Just like necklaces, earrings.
No, I can't take these out though, but.
Okay, yeah, those are fine.
Okay, that's all I have.
I can't even see them, your hair's covering
Oh,
up.
sorry.
Oh, those guys? All right.
This one and
Yeah,
that
they'll be
one.
fine.
Okay.
And what you're gonna do is you're gonna stand over here. This thing's called the Bucky. It's not because I'm from Wisconsin or anything. I don't even know why this thing's called the Bucky, but I'm gonna use this kind of as a point of reference a lot.
Okay.
So go ahead and put your butt up against the Bucky to start. So we'll start with 2 of your low back here. I'm gonna kind of poke around here a little bit. All right. Awesome. Alrighty, and we'll take a side picture of your low back as well.
It's so awkward standing on those things.
I'm actually gonna have you face the wall there.
Okay.
Right hip touching the Bucky. I do need you to bring your arms up, just like kind of cross. You can actually put your elbow right on top of the Bucky if you need to. Perfect. And then take a little inch step towards the wall for me. All right, that is perfect. That was a nice little scoot. What are you saying? It's a little awkward just standing there?
Yeah, it's just standing there.
Yeah, you're like, be like,
Kind of like, what do I do?
yeah, half the time if I say, okay, be nice and still, that's when people like freak out and they start moving too much. So this is actually how we see the top 2 vertebrae of your neck.
Okay.
We do have to go through the mouth. So we gotta get the teeth out of there. Yeah, we'll see how photogenic you are.
Oh God.
I know that is a goofy one, but it's interesting because that's how we see the top 2 vertebrae of your neck.
Oh, never had that one done before.
Yep, that's a key one that we need to do for chiropractic purposes. And I'll show you all these, but
Okay.
it is kind of a goofy picture, I know. Everyone's like, you need me to what? Everything up. But the good news is, looks like you don't have to join the circus quite yet.
Yet.
Yet. Have you ever been on one of these before?
No.
Go on your stomach first, so I'm actually gonna have you flip around. I'm gonna bring this up a tiny bit here.
I'm
There you
nervous
go.
for this one.
It's safe, I promise.
Okay.
You're plenty tall enough to go on this ride. So there are handles right in front of your face here, all right? And it's gonna kind of fall forward, so just trust the fall.
Oh, this is kind of fun.
Good, that's the idea. And I'll also work on that left knee a little bit, see if we can find a couple of those tender spots in your calf and behind the knee. Does that irritate it when I bend your knee like that or anything?
Not right there, no.
Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna kind of poke around in your low back and butt. Okay, is any of that tender? If I poke in there? Okay.
No.
Okay, if I poke in here, is that tender?
No.
I guess that's kind of a loaded question again with how tough you are. Okay, if I poke in here, anything tender in there at all?
No, kind of. A little
Is it?
bit.
Okay, so I'm starting to learn that if you laugh, that's when you actually have a tender spot, which is kind of cynical a little bit, but no, that's how tough you are. Okay. All right. Anything tender in here at all?
Yep.
Okay. More on that left side?
Yep.
Okay. Definitely feel that. All right. Very nice. So again, I'm gonna kind of lean on your mid back here, okay? You might feel some pops. And again, those pops is just gas being released from the joints. So nothing too crazy, where nothing's cracking or breaking or anything along those lines. It's again, just CO2 being released from the joints, and it's actually a good thing because we're getting it moving, but it's gonna also allow all that gas to reintroduce in the joint, kind of establishing like its nutrients, so to speak. All right, so you get to just kind of relax. I'm gonna lean on you here a little bit, all right? Already getting some freebies in there. That was really good. And you said it's been a couple of years since you've been adjusted, so you're used to this kind of stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. You do a lot of foam rolling and things like that too?
I try to.
Okay.
Mainly though when I'm sore.
Okay. More for like your legs, not necessarily like in your back and stuff?
No, I like it on the back a lot.
Okay, good. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a really good thing. So again, a couple more little pops here. One more. Okay. I'm gonna try that one more time here. Very good. I'm gonna have you take a nice deep breath in and let it all out. There you go. Good job. One more. Yeah, it's tight in there. Okay.
Yeah, wherever your thumb is super
Pretty tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to get some extension through there, but that might take a couple tries to kind of get that moving. I'm gonna try one more thing. I'm actually gonna try to adjust this first rib. It's right through this tender spot.
Okay.
I know it's kind of goofy, but you do have ribs up that high. I promise. All right. Might feel a little kind of awkward, but if we can get this to move, it's very, very relieving for you. So just try to melt best you can in here. There you go. Boom. How was that?
That felt good.
Good. A lot of people either love me or hate me after that adjustment,
that felt really
but
good.
it moved super well there. That was awesome.
Yeah, that felt great.
All right. Since you're still on your stomach here, I'm going to kind of work on your knee a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Let's see if I can find a couple tender spots.
Yep.
Okay. So again, what I like to do is I like to work on like the fibular head and the popliteal tendon behind the knee. So it's a little diagonal muscle that's in the back of the knee, and it feels like a tight a tight calf, but a lot of times it's that popliteal tendon, and it's so hard to kind of get after.
Yeah.
So
Like
keep
right there.
keep breathing best you can. I'm just doing like a little bit of trigger point here. I know this one can be really tough. We can establish a safe word if we need one. Okay. And this one is so hard because you can only stretch the calf so much.
Yeah.
So if I can get in there and just do like a nice little trigger point and try to loosen that up. Okay. Good. Good job. Keep breathing best you can. Okay. Especially if there's instability in that knee, this popliteal tendon just works overtime. And you probably have a really strong popliteal tendon because you went so long after your injury and didn't have to like do anything about it. So I got this little spring-loaded device. It's called an activator. Okay. It's going to feel like a little punch in the back of your knee.
Okay.
It won't be too crazy or anything, but it's considered a high-velocity, low-amplitude tool, which means that it doesn't really get deep, but it's quick. Okay, so this actually does adjust, just a lot more subtle. So you're going to feel these little punches here. Okay. Good. We'll get that, try to influence that fibula kind of forward here. It should take some pressure off that popliteal tendon. Okay. All right, I'm going to have you lay on this right side for me. Take your time. Okay. I know I like to talk about a lot of things, but when you're laying on your side, you see how you're pulling that shoulder out?
Yeah.
That's really good. So you want to lay on that shoulder blade.
Okay.
I know it feels kind of weird, but you actually feel stretched through here?
Kinda.
A little bit? Okay. So we want to be able to kind of lay on that shoulder blade more, especially if you're sleeping on your side. But here, I'm actually going to try to adjust L5 here on the left side. So right through that tight spot. You feel that? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to kind of roll you like a log. It might feel like you're going to fall off the table, but I promise you won't. Okay? So again, you're going to feel a nice little pop kind of in your low back here. Just let everything melt best you can. There you go. That was amazing. That was a lot. Go on the other side for me. And that's the way I like to adjust. Some people think it's like, someone like Bruce Lee taught me how to adjust or something. But what it is actually just getting the joint to the end range of motion, and it takes a small little impulse to actually get that thing to move. That way it should be an actual subtle little adjustment. So this one we're going to try to adjust your SI joint here. So let everything melt again. There you go. Wowza. That was good. Go on your back for me. You're adjusting really well, so that's awesome.
Feels good.
So far so good, I'm passing?
No, it feels great.
Awesome. All right. And again, it's not always about the popping, but we're influencing joints to kind of work in the right direction. My favorite analogy to use is like, you ever worn braces?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you had the braces put on for the first time, it was a little sore, right?
Yep.
It took a lot to get those things kind of moving in the right direction.
Yep.
And then every time you kind of cranked them down, tighten them, it was a little more sore. We're getting things in the right direction. But it took time to kind of get your teeth nice and lined up.
Yeah.
I like to be the braces for your spine.
Oh,
So
there you go.
it takes time, and the goal is to get you to like that nightly retainer as maintenance, right?
Yep.
So if I can get you feeling better, get you out of pain, get things actually functionally moving again, then we want to get you to like that once every month or two, just as like a maintenance routine. But you feel how tight that is in here?
Yep.
You're like, you can stop poking on that now.
No, actually, that feels really good.
Does it? All right, good.
It's so tight.
Well, then I'll keep doing it. So again, you're gonna feel those pops in your neck. They're gonna be a little louder, and it's only because they're actually closer to your ear. That's it, okay? All you have to do is let me take the whole weight of your neck here, okay? There you go. That was actually good. It moved on its own there. Okay. So that was really good, and again, you can feel how tight it is up here. Remember that goofy open mouth picture?
Yeah.
I told you that left side looked like it was a little more stuck. You can definitely feel it through here too. Okay. So let everything just melt best you can here. Let me take the whole weight of your head. There you go. Look at that. You can definitely tell you've been adjusted before. I'm gonna give you a little pull here, okay?
Okay.
So let everything just relax, kind of decompress that whole CT junction here. There you go. Okay. Awesome. That was really good. You adjusted super well. You could definitely tell though, you know, that kind of goofy one where I tractioned out your head?
Yeah.
I got C7 and T1 to move, which is your first rib. It's
Oh.
called the CT junction.
Okay.
That is the biggest culprit for you, for sure. That junction is like the fulcrum for when your head falls forward. That's like the fulcrum of the crane, so to speak.
Okay.
So your coconut is the payload.
Yeah.
All the traps and the erectors in your neck are like the cables, and the fulcrum is actually that CT junction, which is that bony bump.
Okay.
So, and you said your right hip gets really tight, right?
Yes.
Okay, so is it more like in the front here, or is it more on the side?
No, it's like right
Okay.
there.
And you've never had any like injuries to that hip or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of give you a little pull here, okay?
Okay.
Let everything just keep melting best you can. I'm gonna actually end up kind of decompressing the hip and the knee here, so you might feel a pop in there. Let everything just melt best you can here. There you go. How was that?
Okay.
Good. And it was kind of goofy at first, but we want to reset everything here. That knee, the hip, is just going to help set the foundation for your pelvis and low back as well. All right. Good. Real subtle in there. Awesome. Couple little smiles. So I'm going to bring you up here, okay? Just find your footing on the platform, okay? And take your time coming up. I just want you to tell me how everything feels.
Better.
Right off the bat?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Way better.
good. How's that low back feel? Do you feel anything tight like in that left side?
I mean, it's still slightly tight, but
I mean, look how far you're extending
I can go
already.
way further.
Okay, so again, like I showed you on those x-rays, when you're doing deadlifts or anything like that, definitely want to focus on that pelvic tilt. So right now you're doing something like this, right, where these erectors are super tight.
Yeah.
You're trying to tuck the pelvis under,
Okay.
and focus on pulling that belly button to your spine.
Got it.
And it's something as simple like if you drop a pencil on the floor, you want to do the same thing, and you're familiar.
I'm gonna be at my house, like, wait,
Yeah, you'll
hold
be
on.
like, huh? One second. And then you're gonna, the best thing to do is like an RDL too. You're really familiar with those. Because again, instead of pivoting at the low back when we pick stuff up, pivot at the hips, right? And you're maintaining that tight core. So that's why doing that pelvic tilt and then doing things like bending with your hips is really beneficial. So with everything you're doing, it's like, it's perfect, but you have to incorporate that in everyday kind of lifestyle. So you adjusted super well. How does that that left rib feel up by the trap? Good.
I just feel like, I don't know.
Looser?
How to explain it. Looser, pressure's off, open, yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, you adjusted
So much better.
super well. You actually look a little taller too for some reason.
Yay!